So, is everything ready? Alright then, let's begin. So, before I began studying abroad, I spent most of my life living alongside not one, but two chaotic younger siblings. The oldest was a boy named Ken, and the youngest was a girl named Quinn. While our age gap wasn't particularly huge, our personalities, on the other hand, couldn't have been much more different. The three of us, for the most part, were basically polar opposites. Yeah, and let me tell you this. Despite being tied by blood relations, none of us ever shared any similar traits or hobbies. I mean, aside from being troublemakers, all three of us had contrasting personalities. So much so that we hardly look related at all. Out of the three of us, I was the family weeb, the artsy, introverted one who spent way too much time drawing inside his room. Ken, on the other hand, was the sports-obsessed one. He eventually ended up entering our middle school basketball team. And as for Quinn, well, let's just say she was the wild card of the family. Popular at school, terrifying at home. Oh, and by wild card, I mean the ones that would occasionally pull knives out over stolen snacks. And no, you did not hear that wrong. Knives. Not toy knives, real stainless steel knives snatched straight from the kitchen's cabinet. This happened quite occasionally at one point during our childhood. Often enough that it's a miracle our parents never noticed. Anyway, growing up in a household of three siblings, one word to describe our childhood would have been competitive. The three of us were ridiculously competitive about almost everything. Video games, snacks, grades, whoever eats the last piece of chicken, everything. Even the most trivial of things can turn the house into a battlefield. And as anyone with sibling knows, we had our fair share of physical negotiation. Most of the time, it ended with only minor injuries. A bruise here, a scratch there. Some of those marks are still visible today. We still laugh about them whenever our parents are not around. Speaking of parents, our strict Asian mom and dad were constantly at their wits' end. Having to deal with three of us constantly fighting, while also managing their work life must have been quite tiresome. Still, because of that, no matter how bad the fighting got, we usually end up apologizing by bedtime. As we gradually grew older, the physical fight slowly faded away. Instead, what came to replace it was verbal mental warfare. On a typical night, Ken and I would have these ideological debates in our shared bedroom. Mostly, it was our clashing ideologies that fueled these arguments, but most of our arguments followed the same pattern, and it goes something along the lines like this. When you're rich, you should feed the poor. Why feed them? Give them a job instead. You're not wrong, but why should the rich hoard all the money instead of sharing? Because we live in a capitalist society, stupid. If the rich don't make money, who's going to produce jobs? Yeah, don't take that too seriously, but from my point of view, some of the things we argued about in the dead of night were downright concerning. Nonetheless, now that I'm abroad in university, the silence feels heavier. My mom once told me over the phone that the house has been more peaceful since I left. Not that it's completely calm. My siblings still clash occasionally, but they've each become absorbed in their own lives as of recently. But during those louder days, during times where all three of us still often fought, as the eldest, I was usually the designated scapegoat, the responsible one, despite being as reckless as the others. Did the constant blame annoy me? Absolutely. But back then, being the oldest came with its moments too. Looking back now, growing up with two chaotic siblings, I endured dozens of painful experiences. Some hilarious in hindsight, others downright traumatizing. But not all sibling wounds leave bruises. Some cut way deeper than others. Take the time 8-year-old Ken decided to detonate my social life during a car ride with my childhood crush and her mom. Yeah, you heard that right. Her mom was there too. Picture the scene. We're in my crush's car and playing I Spy on the way to school. Everything was normal. until Ken chirps, "I spy someone my brother loves." Okay, maybe not his exact words, but the damage was identical. Cue record scratch. My face burning. My friend confused. Her mom trying not to laugh as she steered the car. We immediately started fighting in the backseat while my poor friend stared out of the window, questioning herself as if she was rethinking her entire life decision. As a result, I avoided that car like a plague for months. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, the second time we got a ride with them again, my little brother did it again. This was the final straw, and every single time none of my parents were able to take me to school, I begged my mom to arrange rides with someone else other than that specific childhood friend. And the rides since then have been completely miserable. To this day, Quinn still occasionally mocks me about it, because despite not being present when it happened, she found my diary entry about the whole disaster and how I had a huge crush on that specific childhood friend. And yeah, this basically ends the video. Honestly, the script was supposed to be longer than it ended up with, but it is what it is. Thanks a lot for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!